Winfield.
Okay. And what's your relationship to Mr. Who?
We dated for a while. We've been friends.
Okay. Your friends? Are you aware of why you're here?
Yes.
There are some allegations
Okay.
about the weekend of June. I keep missing these dates. The
Six-
weekend of June 16th. Were you around Mr. Who and or Eliza anytime during the weekend of June 16th?
Yes, on Sunday, June 18th.
Can you tell us about that day, the time that you were around?
I was with them most of the day. We started at Mr. Who's house. It was Father's Day. We went to Boy to get breakfast, and then we went to Legoland. After Legoland, we went to Target to get blankets because we went to see The Little Mermaid. After we went to see The Little Mermaid, Eliza wanted to go to the pool in his neighborhood, so I went and got her a swimsuit and a life jacket so that she could go swimming, and then we went to the pool, and the day kind of ended like around like 6:37, something like that.
And this was Sunday, the 18th?
Mm-hmm.
Please answer
During that
yes or
time-
no
Oh,
for the
yes,
purpose, for
yes,
the benefit
sorry.
of the court reporter.
Yes, that was Sunday the 18th.
During that time frame, did you witness Mr. Who hit Eliza?
No, I did not witness him hit Eliza.
Did Eliza complain about being hit by Mr. Who?
Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm at work.
Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't understand the answer. It's breaking up.
No, I'm sorry. The announcement came on. I'm at work. This was just the best internet connection for me. No, I did not hear or see Eliza complain that Mr. Who had hit her.
Did she appear to be distraught at all during the time you were around?
No, Eliza was playful the whole day. She was sleepy before the movie, and then she got up and she started watching the movie. She wasn't sad or anything the entire day.
And you've been around Eliza and Mr. Who before the Father's Day, am I right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever witnessed Mr. Who hit Eliza?
No, I've never seen him be inappropriate with her or hit her.
Have you ever seen Eliza be distraught or disturbed in the presence of Mr. Who?
No, I've never, not in my presence. No, I have never seen or witnessed her being distraught or upset
What
or
about
anything.
scared? Have you
No,
witnessed her being scared or saying anything that would indicate that she's fearful of Mr. Who?
absolutely not. She is very playful when I'm around. I mean, I just don't know when I've never seen her upset or anything like that.
Okay, no further questions.
Any
Okay.
cross-examination, Ms. Moorcraft?
Yes, sir. So can you please clarify for me your relationship to Mr. Who?
We were friends, we dated, and then we're friends again.
So you're no longer dating, you're just friends.
No.
Okay, I get it the first time, Ms. Moorcraft. You don't have to restate the same question.
Yes, sir, understood. Can you please tell me why you would spend Father's Day with Nick and his daughter?
It
Objection.
was just,
I'm gonna go ahead and object because I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Well, you brought the witness. I think she's entitled to thorough and sifting cross-examination. I'll overrule the objection.
Okay, that's good.
we just decided to spend time together. Eliza and I have like hung out before, and I wanted her to do something nice for her father. So I just volunteered to, help her, decide on a gift, and then I got the gift, and then we just spent the day together. There was no other reason other than just wanting her to do something nice for her father.
Okay, so sorry, to clarify, you were dating the weekend of 6/16 to 6/19.
Yes.
Okay, so just past that, you guys have stopped dating.
Yes.
On your statement, it never says you went home. Can you tell me when you left Mr. Who's house?
Monday morning.
I may
But-
need a judge.
Okay, just move on. Ask
Can
your
you
question.
tell me where you slept, Miss Winfield?
On the floor.
So where
Not
did your
argue
daughter
with the
sleep?
witness.
Your daughter slept with Mr. Who in his bed.
Copy.
Okay.
Can you tell me how much time before the weekend of 6/16 through 19 that you spent with my daughter?
Sometime the end of last year. Sorry, Judge, I don't have
Were you
like.
divorced?
Okay, please don't interrupt the witness while she's answering.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm not totally sure, but we did hang out, or we were getting to know one another around the end of last
So
Mm.
sorry to confirm that was you with my daughter, not Mr. Who. You started seeing my
Oh.
daughter the end of last year.
I may have seen her like once the end of last year. I can't tell you how many times. I only recall us being around each other 3 or 4 times, just to my memory.
Okay, so I want to just confirm because it's my understanding Eliza does not have a bed in her father's room. So, right?
Well, there has been a bed in the
Why do you sleep
room
on the floor?
Okay.
because I
Mr.
had,
Raff, hold
Can I
hold
do
on,
the relevant
hold
thing
on,
again?
everybody. Hold
Sorry,
on.
Judge.
Zoom is a terrible way to try cases. There's a
agree.
delay and everybody starts talking
Okay.
over each other, and it is absolutely impossible for the court reporter to put it down on record. It's absolutely impossible for me to hear 3 voices talking at once. Sometimes it's just an overlap, but give it a second before you start talking. Make sure it's quiet, please, before you start talking. Everybody. All right. Now, what was your question again about a bed in the room or something?
To your knowledge, is there a bed in the room?
And
for
what is the relevance of that question to what we're here about today?
Eliza having her own space to go to when
That's
her
not what we're here about today, ma'am. I'm not in charge of custody. I'm here
Understood.
about domestic violence. So I'm gonna sustain the objection by counsel. Let's move on to something relevant to your petition.
I have no further questions, sir.
Okay, any redirect, Ms. Boyd?
No, I think I asked everything.
Okay, I have a question, Ms. Winfield. You said that y'all parted ways Monday morning. Is that the time in which Eliza was returned to her mother?
oh, I'm not sure. He took her to my knowledge, he was taking her to school.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I don't know all the terms of their exchanges and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, I don't
know
know.
she went to school that morning.
Well, that's what they told me. That he
Okay.
was telling me he was going to take her to school.
Okay. Did you see any incident on that Sunday in which she could have received scratches on her back or her neck or collarbone area from anything, whether it was accidental, playful, or middle of play, or by some
No,
action
sir.
by any person?
No, sir. And then when we
Okay.
got in the pool, she didn't complain of any like thing being hurt. I can imagine that would hurt if we got in the pool.
Okay. All right. You may be excused.
Does that mean I'm
Thank you.
dismissed? I can leave?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I would like to call Ms. Gordon, the last one, Judge, before I call my client.
Ms.
Right,
Gordon,
ma'am,
can you please start your video? Okay, we're ready.
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Well, can you let the court reporter know your name?
Camille Talicia Gordon.
Okay, Ms. Gordon. And you know why you're here?
I do.
Okay, what's your relation? I'm sorry, Judge, you're gonna wait. Okay, what's your relationship to Mr. Who?
He's my cousin and we're roommates also.
Your roommates.
Yes,
So you were around Eliza and Mr. Who at any point on the weekend of June 16th?
yes. Sunday, the 18th, I was home all day on that day. Friday night and Saturday night, I was working. Saturday during the day, I think I was out and about. So I wasn't really at home, but I was home all day on Sunday.
Did you sleep at home on those nights?
Friday night and Saturday night, yes, but I didn't get in until well after everybody else was asleep because I work nights.
Okay, and then Sunday you saw Mr. Who and Eliza, is that right?
Yes, briefly,
And you've known Eliza for how long?
her entire life.
Would you say that you would know if something was wrong with Eliza?
I would say so. Yeah, for the most part.
Did you witness Eliza being distraught in any way that Sunday that you were there?
No, I did not.
Did you witness her being in fear of Mr. Who at all?
Definitely no. I've never seen that.
Did you? Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit more direct
Mhm.
here. Have you witnessed Mr. Who hit Eliza over that weekend?
Never. No.
Have you ever witnessed him hit Eliza?
Sorry, correction. Yes, I've never witnessed that. No, I did not witness it on the weekend.
Okay, did you hear, so can you explain to me how far away your room is from Mr. Who and where Eliza sleeps?
Our bedrooms are joined, not joined, but like the bathroom sort of is our wall, but it's, it's not soundproof or anything like that. So, I mean, our bedroom doors are maybe 8 feet apart
Have there been times where you can hear Eliza laughing and playing when she's there?
all the time. Yeah, whether
So
she's
this
in the living
weekend in
room or
particular,
bed. Sorry.
I'm sorry, one more
So I was
time.
saying, because I can hear when they're in the living room and also when they're in the bedroom, yes.
So this weekend in particular, did you hear her doing any crying and screaming?
I mean, Eliza cries. Like, you know, I mean, she's a very happy child, but she does also cry and get emotional sometimes very easily. So to say I've never heard her cry would absolutely be a falsehood, but not anything that was out that would cause concern.
Are you a mandated reporter?
Not at this time, but I have been.
And you have experience in children being abused?
Yes, I used to be a paraprofessional counselor for at-risk youth.
And in your experience, have you seen anything in Eliza that indicates that Mr. Who has been abusive towards her?
No, I have not.
Okay. Over that weekend, did you babysit Eliza at all?
No, I did not.
Have you babysitted her in the past?
Yeah, I used to babysit her when she was, I'm gonna say under 1, I think. I don't remember. It was during the pandemic, so it was at 2020. So probably I think she was under 1 at that time.
Okay. Okay, well, she couldn't talk. I don't think I
Right.
have any other question. Oh, go ahead, Judge, I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, I don't think I
I'm just
have any
waiting.
other question.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. You said you've never seen him be abusive in any way toward Eliza. What about Ms. Moorcraft? Have you ever seen him be abusive or violent toward Ms. Moorcraft?
No, I have not.
Has Ms. Moorcraft ever told you that he was abusive?
No, she's not.
What about Eliza? Has she?
Has Eliza told me? No. No, she's not.
Okay. Nothing further, Judge.
All right. Any cross-examination, Ms. Moorcraft?
Yes, sir. So when you did watch Eliza when she was a baby, can you tell us what name you went by?
I mean,
Judge,
I'm not sure the relevance, but my name is Camille Talicia Gordon. My
What
family
name did you
my
go by?
family calls me Talicia, but my first name, my legal first name is Camille. But I also go by Talicia in personal settings.
So when you were first watching our child when she was 1, what name did you go by?
What's the
I
relevance?
don't
Ms.
understand the
ma'am?
question.
Okay, hold on, ma'am. What is the relevance, Ms. Moorcraft?
My 3-year-old was watched by this lady and terrified by cousin Talicia, and now knows her as cousin Camille, or Camille, I'm so sorry, cousin Camille. And
Okay.
I think that's a point to note that she's used 2 different names in this scenario. That's it.
Okay, I'm not sure the relevance, but go ahead. I mean, something other than the name.
Yes, sir. Go ahead with something else. Miss Camille, can you describe to me how the first visit went when you were watching Eliza?
I mean,
Wait,
honestly,
wait a minute, ma'am. Are you talking about when she was an infant under the age of 1?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, no relevance. Move on.
Okay.
We're here about what you filed in a petition, ma'am. We're not here about something that happened when the child was an infant and a third party involved in it. That's all. We're here about.
I
Mr.
do.
Who.
I totally understand that, sir. My questions, I guess, are trying to come from a pattern of behavior. So I apologize that my questions are not correct. But that's the only reason I was trying to go back. So during the weekend of 6/16 through 6/19, how long did you personally spend with Eliza?
not much time.
So less than an hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
Less than an hour for sure, because I had a migraine and I was in my bedroom, but I could hear and I was present to what was going on, but I was not personally interacting with Eliza.
Okay, well, I don't understand that. You're in your bedroom with a migraine, but how are you hearing and present?
Because my ears still work.
She's already testified that she could hear what was going on in other rooms.
Yes, sir, but she just said she was laying in bed with a migraine, and that was the first time we've heard that.
Doesn't mean she couldn't hear.
Well, okay, I've had bad migraines before. No problem. So that was previous. So yeah, can you describe to us what you do for work?
What is the relevance?
Ma'am,
That you're
you
not around
don't
during
you
the
don't
day.
get to ask the
I'm
relevant questions.
sorry.
Okay. Okay. If
It's not
Ms.
funny,
hold
actually.
on, if Ms. Boyd thinks it's irrelevant, I'm sure she'll let me know.
Okay, I have a few different positions.
I
What is
don't
it?
think it's relevant, Judge. She's
Okay.
not, she doesn't.
Well,
She
you
said
you
she
did
used to
you
be-
did raise the question of her being a mandated reporter. So since you
Right, and
opened that
she-
can of worms, I'll let her cross-examine her
know.
on it. You opened it up.
Okay.
Well, I
did.
did say I'm not currently a mandated reporter.
I heard everything you said. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. You said you
okay.
used to be for at-risk children, a parapro.
Yes,
Okay, so since the issue of your employment was raised on direct, she's allowed to cross-examine you on those same issues.
sure, okay. So, 1, I am a program manager for Mr. Who's company. Number 2, I'm a front of house manager at a restaurant downtown. Number 3, I'm a social media manager for a media company in California.
No wonder you have a headache. 3 jobs.
And which of those do you work at night?
Front of house manager for the restaurant.
Okay, and so that's what you would stay late at night for and not be home for hours till the middle of the night?
Correct.
I'm trying to clarify. So then when you get home in the middle of the night, ma'am, do you sleep when you get home?
Yes, I shower and I go to sleep.
Okay, and how late do you typically sleep till?
It varies on the day.
For sure, totally. So could you give me an average or an about?
Okay, all right, Ms. Moorcraft, I've given you free reign for a little bit, but you haven't narrowed it down. If we're talking about the weekend in question,
Yes,
that's one thing. She's already testified she saw her less than an hour during that weekend. As
Okay,
far as
so
other
then-
weekends, I have no need to hear anything regarding any other time she may have been there.
okay, copy that. No further questions.
All right, any redirect, Ms. Boyd?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, ma'am, you are excused. If you may leave.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to call Mr. Who.
All right,
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the, is that an echo?
yeah, the echo is because y'all must be sitting very close together or relatively close. It's picking you up in two
You-
places.
Got it. He just muted here. Do you
Okay.
solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Say, okay, no, this one is gonna pick you up, or it's gonna echo. So you can talk with that still on mute, and they can hear you through this one. If you say something right now, they can hear you, because this one is picking you up. Yeah, that way it won't.
Not very well, but he's gonna either have to speak loudly into your microphone, move your microphone closer to him, or somewhere in between you. I don't know what the layout is there.
All right, I can project a little bit more. Does that help, Mr. Projecting?
It's better. We'll see how it goes. The court reporter has to be
Alright.
able to hear y'all.
No problem.
So do I.
Understood.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, if the respondent, Mr. Who, if you can move a little bit closer. You sound a little bit afar. That's,
Does that sound better?
Yes,
yes,
absolutely.
Okay.
wonderful,
I
thank
didn't know
you.
y'all were in two different rooms. So.
No, we were. Oh, thank God for technology. I'm ready.
Like he's taking over my office.
Okay, I think we can hear you fine now.
Okay.
Ms. Boyd.
Okay. Mr. Who, Ms. Moorcraft said you hit Eliza. Is that true?
I have not hit Eliza, nor have I raised my hands towards Eliza.
Do you discipline Eliza in any way?
My form of discipline is pretty much telling her to come here, sitting down and looking at her eye level and telling her what she's done wrong. I do it with an elevated voice. So yes, I do it with an elevated and stirred voice. And bring her close to me,
So why do
sit
you
her
do
eye
that?
level.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No worries, because I just want her basically to focus and pay attention to acknowledge what she's done wrong.
We filed a modification. Was that before or after this TPO allegation came?
It was before the TPO.
Was it a number of days?
Yes, to my knowledge, it was pretty much almost over a week before the TPO.
Okay, I'd like to pull exhibit 1.
Ms. Broom, can you find exhibit 1, please?
Yes, it's just coming up real
Oh,
slow.
okay. Sorry.
That's fine.
This is the petition that you filed. When was it filed? There's a stamp at the top of it.
It was filed June 15th, 2023.
So is that when I should object that she's answering the question for him?
No, she just asked, when was it filed?
She said it's up at the top of the paper.
Okay, so ma'am, sometimes witnesses can't see everything that they're being asked to see, and they're asked to see, point at a line in a piece of paper, point at something in a picture. That is absolutely nothing incorrect or improper about asking him to look at the top of the document.
Mr. Who, in this petition, are you asking for more time with Eliza?
Yes,
Are you also asking that Ms. Moorcraft be held in willful contempt?
yes.
Has Ms. Moorcraft ever threatened you about filing a contempt?
Has she threatened me about filing a contempt?
Let me rephrase. Has she had anything to say to you about whether or not, what would happen if you were to file anything? Has she
She
threatened
had-
you about starting litigation?
She has not.
Please don't lead your witness.
I'm sorry.
She has not.
Okay. All right, I'd like to tender this as exhibit 1.
Any objection, Ms. Moorcraft?
So I'm sorry, can you say it one more time, Ms. Boyd? I didn't hear your last statement.
She tendered it into evidence.
And you had the baby that weekend. So this weekend was June 16th. This was filed June 15th. You had the baby 16th, 17th, and 18th.
That's correct.
And this
Objection.
is the
Okay, hold on. What's your objection, ma'am?
This was dated and filed the 22nd, as stated at the top right corner. Not the 15th.
I asked if the petition was filed on the 15th, Ms. Moorcraft.
Okay, that,
Well,
what we
this
got here is
document-
hold it. What we have here is an entry of appearance. We don't have the petition or the,
Yes, we just
Motion
entered the petition. Yes, Judge, we just entered the petition into the record.
right.
And this
And
will
that was dated
demonstrate
what?
the 15th of June.
Okay, and your question to him was what day did you file the petition, correct?
My question to him, yes, originally was what date was the petition? And
Okay.
we said the 15th. Now the question here, now that this is pulled up, is when did we first hear of an entry in the case? And it says it here.
Which
We've
case?
already been through.
Of which
I'm
case?
sorry.
Which case?
This is an entry in the same case. in the-
I
in the
know that.
petition
You
for my
said you
case.
were asking him, when did he first hear about some case? Are you talking about the TPO?
No, I'm asking whether or not Ms. Moorcraft filed an entry into the modification days after we filed it. This just demonstrates this is when she learned of the case and got into the case. I'm sorry, because we have 2 cases going on here. This just demonstrates when she learned of the modification.
Objection, that's not a question.
Okay, no, I'm trying to clarify here why we're even going down this road. This is the TPO that I
because
have in
Judge,
front
it
of
is
me, is my understanding from what I've heard testimony of is the second one that Ms. Moorcraft filed. The previous one was filed and was unable to be served and was then dismissed. So what is the relevance of all of this, whether they overlap by 2 days or what?
Well, Judge, it is our position that Ms. Moorcraft filed this TPO in retaliation, and I'm just trying to establish a
She had already
timeline.
filed
I could
one
really
prior
just
to
put it
this
in closing. I'm
She already-
sorry?
This is the second TPO. She'd already filed one earlier.
This is the same exact allegations.
Okay, you're right, it is, but I'm trying to get the chronology here, and this has been bugging me for a few minutes. Ms. Moorcraft,
Okay.
when did you file the first TPO that was never served?
First
Approximately.
TPO, my ex parte hearing was held on the 26th, June 26th.
The
June
first one.
26th. Yes, the first one.
Okay, so, and then this one was filed,
So it's filed, I think, on the 22nd. And
according
again,
to this says it was filed on July 20th.
correct. So that is the second
Okay,
one. So
okay,
the first
all right.
one, the sheriffs weren't able to serve him, and I was
Okay.
told I couldn't hire a,
All right, I understand now the timing of it, but I'll tell you, don't spend a lot of time on this.
Okay, I'm gonna skip to number 4.
You
I
can,
put-
you
I
can
put
argue
number
it
4.
later. You can argue the
Yeah,
date.
I just
all
said,
you
I'm
want
gonna
later.
put it in closing. Okay. Can I see exhibit 4? All right, Mr. Hu. As soon as we filed this, there was a motion for emergency hearing that was filed. I want to know if we responded to it. Do you recognize this document on the screen?
Yes, I recognize this document.
Okay, and in this other case, have we requested a guardian ad litem?
Yes, we have.
Okay, I'm done with Gwinnett County, period.
Okay, I'd just like to
I'm done
tender
with
this
it.
as exhibit
There's
4. This is the
absolutely no
last one,
need.
Judge.
There's absolutely no need to bring that in here.
Okay, I'd like exhibit 5. Do you recognize this, Mr. Hu?
Yes,
What do you recognize this to be?
this is when we went to Legoland for Father's Day.
Okay, and what date is that? June?
That's June 18th.
And this was during the weekend in question?
Yes,
Was Eliza crying at all during this time?
no,
objection. She's 3. Come on.
Ma'am, that's not a legal objection, overruled. It's an observation, ma'am. She asked the question, was she crying? He said no.
Yes,
What
sir.
in the world is objectionable about that?
Nothing, sir. I
Okay.
apologize.
I'd like to go to page 2 of this same exhibit. Can you tell me what that is?
that's me attending Donuts with Daughters at her school on that Friday, the 16th.
Okay, so this is during the weekend in question.
Yes,
Was she distraught at all when she was with you here?
she was not distraught at that current time, but when I had to leave to go basically attend a showcase to come back to get her. She was crying for me not to leave. And I had to have Miss Tanya, who is our teacher, to console her. But I told her I was coming back to come pick her up. That was the only time she was feeling distraught at the time.
Okay. Can I see page 3 here? Can you tell me what this is?
Same event. There was a girl who did not have a parent there, so we decided to share our donuts with each other, me, Eliza, and the child. Same event.
Was she distraught at any time here?
No.
Okay, can we see page 4? Okay, can you tell me what this is?
That was the night, I believe it was either the 16th or the 17th. I think most likely it was the 17th. I bought her a monster truck set, and she wanted to continue to play with it in the monster truck set later on that evening after we got off the phone with her mother.
Was she distraught at any point here?
No.
I can't hear you.
No, she was not distraught at any point.
Okay, can I see page 5? Okay, what do we have here?
That was late at night. She was struggling to go to sleep, so we decided to watch Spider-Man. That is her watching Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Friends, let me clarify.
Which day during that weekend is this? Do you remember?
I believe that was either the 18th or the 19th. I think most likely it was, sorry.
No, go ahead. Most likely, I'm listening.
Most likely, I believe that was the 18th. Sorry,
Okay.
that was the 18th. 19th was a Monday. It was the 17th, which was Saturday night.
Okay, was she distraught at all here?
No.
Okay, and then the last page, page 6. What's this here?
Her first day at soccer camp.
Did she have physical interactions with the kids at this event or activity?
Yeah, she had physical interaction. She basically had a practice, and then she also had a game.
Okay. Did she fall at all?
Not to my knowledge.
Did she run into other kids?
That she did do during the game.
I didn't hear you.
She did run into other kids during the game.
Okay. Did she complain to you about being upset or hurt in any way?
To my knowledge, no. The only thing that she complained about was that they put her and sat her on the bench, and she cried because she wanted to go back into the game. That was the only thing that was distraught about her well-being that day.
Judge, I'd like to tender this collective exhibit as exhibit
Any
5.
objection, Ms. Moorcraft?
So again, apologies for my lack of knowledge. I don't have objection for that to go into evidence, but I do have some questions about that.
You will have an opportunity to cross-examine the witness later.
Sir,
All
I
right.
have no objection to that going into evidence.
Admitted without objection. Thank you.
Mr. Hu, are there any other activities that took place over that weekend?
After soccer camp, the soccer game, went to Onan and Ricky's house where they basically played. Eliza played with her cousins, running up and down the stairs, throwing the basketball, playing with toys. Again, later on that evening, we did got the monster trucks, and we basically built a monster truck set. The most of the activity that happened was pretty much on Sunday, where Miss Winfield treated myself and Eliza to breakfast for Father's Day and treated us to a Legoland and watching the movie. Any physical activity, I would basically say probably would be the pool, where Eliza had a vest that probably was a little bit too tight, a light vest to go into the pool that was a little bit too tight. And again, she was very hesitant to go into the pool, so she did do a lot of running around the pool. She did come into the pool with me for about, I'll say, 20 minutes. I would say that was pretty much be the length of activity. I have a mini basketball goal inside the house, and she would shoot the basketball goal in there. Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the scratch on her neck. Did you do the scratch on her neck?
I do not.
Were you responsible for the scratch that's on Eliza's neck in the photograph?
I am not.
Okay. And what about the scratch on her back in the photograph? Did you cause
I
that?
I have not, and I was not aware of any type of scratches on her neck or scratches on her back till this TPO
Did
was
you
presented.
receive? Okay, did you receive any calls from the school saying that Eliza was distraught or upset after
I
you
have not.
after you dropped her off?
I have not received a call from the school about Liza being distraught and upset. Even more so, when I brought her to the school, we would generally go meet with a teacher. And we met with a teacher. She was very, she was very happy and engaged. And then when I went to go drop her off to her towards the teacher, she was in a very good spirits.
Okay. Have you received any calls from Child Protective Services or DFAC?
I have not received not one phone call or no voicemails or any emails or any contacts from Child Services nor DFACS.
Okay, Ms. Marcraft alleged that you forcibly grabbed Eliza in 2021 and you were screaming at her and would not let her go. How old was Eliza in 2021?
In 2021, Eliza was 1 year old, 1 year old. She turned 2 in December of 2021.
So the bulk of 2021, she was a 1-year-old.
Correct.
Did you forcibly grab this 1-year-old little girl and scream in
No.
her face and wouldn't let her go?
No. There has not been an instance or any type of thing that would be enforced to do any type of yelling or screaming towards Eliza.
Ms. Marcraft said you pushed her. Is that true?
I have not pushed Ms. Marcraft.
Let's talk about this overdose. Can you tell me what happened there?
Are we talking about the overdose in August or are we talking about the overdose in December?
We're talking about the alleged overdose in both December 2020 and August 2021.
Okay, so August 2021, I worked a very long shift over at FedEx. I and Ms. Marcraft would take CBD waters and drink CBD waters from a CBD store located in Stone Mountain. I was very hungry at that time, so when I went to the CBD store to go get our CBD waters, I was hungry, so they had a cookie. Again, aware that my knowledge that this was just strictly a CBD store, not knowing that they sell THC or Delta 8. I thought that this was pretty much a CBD cookie that could accompany with CBD water. So I ingested the whole entire cookie, not knowing that it had Delta 8. When I ingested the whole entire cookie, I would say about 30 to 45 minutes later, I started feeling symptoms, and I told Ms. Marcraft that something is not right. When I started fading and started going into the state that I believe I was in, during that time, I asked Ms. Marcraft to please call the place and please ask what was in those cookies. I can clearly remember when she's on the phone with the people at the CBD store, she said that the person on the phone said that CBD
Okay,
CBD contain Delta 8.
Let me ask you this. During that time, okay, it contained Delta 8, got it. Did you hit Ms. Marcraft while you was on the CBD cookie?
No.
Did you hit Eliza?
No.
Were you violent toward either of them in any way?
No.
Okay, what about December 2020? Did you hit either of them or were you violent with either of them in any way? Wait a minute, Eliza was born December 2020, am I right?
19.
19, yeah.
2019, okay. So that means in 2020, okay, December 2020, did you hit either of them under this alleged overdose situation?
No.
Were you abusive toward either of them in any way?
Okay,
No.
well, hold on. You raised your hand. Do you have an objection or do you just want to argue with his answer?
I'm so sorry, and I will wait my turn, sir.
If you have an objection, now is the time to raise it.
I object because he's lying, but I don't know that I can do that, right?
No, you can't. You can cross-examine him.
You got it. Thank you, sir.
Objection
Why do you
overruled.
think Ms. Marcraft, thank you, Judge. Why do you think Ms. Marcraft filed this
Okay,
TPO?
that's speculative. You can argue that all you want in closing.
Okay. Has Ms. Marcraft, okay, I'll argue in closing.
All right, are you done?
I think so, Judge.
All right, Ms. Moorcraft, if you have questions, you may cross-examine the witness.
Okay, thank you, sir. So where did Eliza sleep, June 16th through 18th?
Judge,
Well, it's during the relevant weekend. I'll allow that to start.
Understood. Eliza slept in my bed.
Okay,
I had and had set up a bed for her. She did not feel comfortable sleeping in the bed. She wanted to sleep with me in the bed. I also even provided, she wanted a Spider-Man tent, and I provided a Spider-Man tent with a bed inside of it. And during those times, she does not want to sleep in there. She decides she wants to sleep in the same bed with me.
yeah, makes sense. Okay, so we already found out when Miss Winfield left. She didn't leave till the next day. Why? So per Miss Winfield's write-up, it says that Eliza fell asleep in the car and you chose to pick her up and take her out of the car and carry her around Target while she's sleeping. How is that in the best interest of Eliza?
Okay.
Judge, we're not talking
okay,
about the best interest of
Okay,
Eliza.
it has
How are we
nothing to do with your
That's best
petition.
interest.
What does it have to do with your petition, ma'am? About an injury alleged on her back and her collarbone? If you want to ask something about that, you may do so. Do you believe that carrying her around somehow injured her?
If he's carrying her around Target, maybe it did. I don't know. If she was
Okay, and if
asleep,
it did, then wouldn't that be accidental?
of course. And
And if it's accidental, then why do you need a protective order?
because he would not talk to me about it. If it was,
Oh,
she
there's a communication problem here. I don't doubt that whatsoever. And had
Well,
he
it was
had he
legally ordered.
communicated, ma'am, don't talk while I'm talking, please.
Sorry, sir.
Had he communicated with you instead of saying frankly, whatever, y'all wouldn't even be here today,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Who.
I
In my
well,
opinion.
I agree.
That's, you know,
And I agree, I understand, Your Honor, and
if a
but
child
I-
gets injured, whether it's at soccer, whether it's at Target or whatever, the two of y'all need to be able to talk. If she got injured while she's with her mother, you would want to know, wouldn't you?
agreed. But
Okay.
while I agree to that, Your Honor, it has been very difficult to communicate with her, and
You have an app to
If-
do it with. You don't have to talk to each
I-
other, correct?
understood,
will
Your
say
Honor.
this,
But
though,
I will
Judge.
say this, Your Honor.
If
I did
I-
say frankly, there's nothing to discuss. But I also clarified that you saw after I said frankly there's nothing to discuss, I said I have not raised my hand nor did I head towards Liza. More importantly, I also emphasized that you were witness and saw that during FaceTime that she was basically having a good time.
Okay.
So I did not say
know,
just
but
frankly
it-
there's nothing
it-
to discuss, but I understand where you're
sometimes
coming from.
Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Understood. That's a work in
That's
progress.
that's for the future. You two are tied together forever. You know that.
Well aware of
Y'all need to
that.
figure it out. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Moorcraft. You have any more questions?
So, Mr. Who, if you did not raise a hand or see Eliza fall or hurt herself, where would these scratches have come from? Where the marks on her back come from?
Again, I do not know where those marks will come from. I'm just reporting and telling you what happened during that weekend.
And I'm reporting and telling you how she came home and what I found our daughter stayed in.
Judge, that's not a question.
Ma'am, I'm gonna caution you one more time. Do not argue with the witnesses.
Did I lose him?
Understand.
Judge is frozen. One moment, Judge, you froze
You
up.
understand what I'm saying? Okay.
You froze up,
understand
Judge.
not
I
to argue.
said, did not argue with the witnesses. You have frozen for a second.
I
Right.
thank you, ma'am, and I understand, sir, and I
Not
will
the
do
form of a
better.
question. You're not going anywhere with it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Who, in the pictures you presented, who was taking all of those pictures
What pictures are we talking about?
that we just submitted into
Ones you just
evidence
presented in
over the
court.
weekend?
Okay, the pictures that was at soccer camp, that was me. Pictures at Legoland, and the pictures at Legoland was Miss Winfield. The picture of her and her monster trucks, that was me. Picture of watching TV, that was me.
How about at the school?
At the school, Daughters with Donuts, that was one of the workers
Okay.
from,
All right.
Okay, Mr. Who, can you please just clarify for the court and for everyone that did I reach out to you prior to filing the TPO?
yes, you sent me a message via the parenting app in which we communicate that you had a deep concern about what Eliza said. Not at any given time, you have not shared any of those pictures that you presented in evidence, but you have expressed your concern. That's when I replied, frankly, there's nothing to discuss because I have not hit or raised my hand towards Eliza. More importantly, this is not the first time that you have expressed a concern about someone hitting Eliza.
Mr. Who, can you please go into more detail about that?
I sure can. Around September 2021, you told me and expressed to me that Eliza said that her teacher from Goddard said that she hit her.
Yep. What
I
happened?
said that okay, I can tell you exactly what happened. I said, okay, if this is the information that you found, then we need to basically present this to the school.
I'm sorry, can you rewind to the beginning of the day when the school did the incident report? Can we start with
Okay,
the
Let him finish his
I-
answer.
yeah,
Okay.
because I said that we need to basically report this to school. You were very hesitant in going to pursue this matter. So I said, fine, I will take care of this myself. So I went to the school and I presented to them about the alleged of saying that you said that Eliza said that the teacher hit the daughter, hit Eliza. They got back with me. They communicated. They said that they would basically bring on an investigation. They contacted me and they told me all the stuff that happened during that time. And after a week after that investigation, they said that there was no record or report of the teacher allegedly hitting Eliza.
How old was Eliza at that time?
Eliza was, I believe, this is 2021. She was, I apologize, it was incorrect, 2022. She was currently 2 at the time.
Just curious.
This was around September or so, I believe.
2, almost 3 then.
That's correct.
All right.
And Mr. Hu, was there an incident report that happened that day at school that Eliza claimed her teacher hit her?
Was there an incident report? I was trying to get information about that incident report. They have not submitted an incident report. What they submitted to me was another incident report of what happened when Eliza was dancing and she fell. But I tried to obtain those copies specifically for this TPO about that incident report.
Right. What is
So
the
that's
relevance?
only-
What is the relevance of this?
I don't know.
Moorcraft, what is the relevance?
That there was an incident that happened when Eliza said that the teacher hit her, that she fell down and had a big red mark on her head, and that the teacher was the first person to pick her up. And so in her mind, the teacher knocked her down. It was an accident.
Okay,
Something happened.
But this is evident.
Who can I
hold
finish?
on, Mr. Hu.
So if that was the only other time that Eliza's alleged that somebody's hit her and there was an incident that happened, was it that the teacher actually hit her? No.
Okay,
But was there an incident that happened? Yes.
okay.
And
All right,
so that is,
we've established that. Now let's move on.
okay, great. Mr. Hu, multiple times you've said that Eliza was in great condition over this weekend.
I said great spirits.
Thank you for correcting me. Eliza being in great spirits for 3 days with no nap just does not seem realistic to me. Can you please describe that to me?
How's that relevant to this?
Sir, you don't get to say that.
Sorry,
I
understood.
do, and your lawyer does.
Please repeat the question.
I don't know the relevance.
I don't either.
Okay, we can let
Now,
it go.
that's something you can argue, Ms. Moorcraft, but whether or not the child can go 24 hours without being upset. We're talking about a 3-year-old here, folks.
Right.
A 3-year-old. Okay, go ahead. You have any more questions?
In relevance to this weekend, sir.
In relevance to your petition,
Yes, sir. So during your 2 overdoses, if you were not fully cognizant, how do you know if you hit me or my brother or our daughter or my mother?
is that in the petition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which one? Which
The
paragraph?
petition doesn't allege, I'm sorry, the petition doesn't allege that he hit her. It just says that he overdosed.
Right.
And I had to call the ambulance for medical assistance. Yes.
Okay.
But you did not call the police.
Hold it.
All right.
Okay. Look, if you're gonna base it on your petition, ma'am, look and ask exactly what's in the petition. Don't add things. If you didn't allege he hit you, then you can't go there.
Okay,
Because due process allows him to have knowledge of what the accusations are in full, not partial.
Okay.
Okay,
yes,
you
sir.
understand the difference.
I do.
Okay. You may proceed.
I don't think Mr. Hu, do you have a firearm in your home?
I do not, and I do not own any firearms.
Have you ever possessed a firearm?
The only time that I possessed a firearm is when in July, around the 4th of July, when your friend's husband,
Our friend.
What year?
Ma'am, Ms. Moorcraft, I've told you repeatedly not to argue with his answer. You don't get to correct him. Okay? Y'all not married anymore. We're not together. You don't get to correct him, period.
Yes, sir.
you can argue all you want to later. If you can tell me everything you think he said that you believe is false, and I'm sure they're going to tell me everything he said that they believe is true.
Sir,
That's why we're here.
my apologies again.
What were you going to say about the firearm in July, sir? Not that I think it's relevant, but
Same here, but I will answer it. July, I believe it was the 4th of July. We
year?
had, I
What year?
believe, 2022. Katie invited her friend and her friend's husband, who has a son that is similar to Eliza's age. That's the first time I was meeting them. That's the first time I was meeting them, and we basically had discussions about parenting and protection. We had discussions about firearms, and I said I'm not very comfortable having a firearm or things of that nature. At that time, a little bit after they left, he presented me with an unloaded and with no clip or none of that stuff, small firearm. He said he wanted me to come and practice to learn about gun safety. So that's when he presented that to me to say, just want you to practice, seeing how it is for pretty much to be in gun safety. At that time, at that night, I spoke to, am I speaking towards her, Your Honor, or am I speaking?
well,
I spoke to Ms. Moorcraft.
answer her questions. I'm the one that gets to decide based
No
on
worries.
everybody
I-
testifying.
The question, hold on, the question was what? What was the question? The question was.
The question was, did I ever possess a firearm? And I'm reporting the times that I possessed.
Okay,
I possessed.
I think you've answered the question.
Okay,
Let's
no
move
worries.
Um, I believe that's it, sir.
Okay, do you have any redirect, Ms. Boyd?
Judge, I think we've done enough here.
Okay. All right, closing arguments. Ms. Moorcraft, you get to go first as to why you think a protective order needs to be issued. And as to, you can argue what evidence you believe can be used as the basis for me to issue one.
Right. Okay, so my daughter stated that to me that her father hit her on her chest and her backside over the week of the 16th to 18th. I only spoke to her for about a total of 20 minutes during the weekend, and I saw her play with toys and run away to go get dad because she was scared to be alone. I did not personally see him do anything, nor do I think that he would put his hands on her in front of his family. But I don't know what happens behind closed doors, and nobody does, right? My daughter has come home pretty much every weekend now from his house saying, I'm scared to close my eyes. Please don't make me go back there, and not wanting to sleep. And that was prior to this weekend. So it was already happening. So if we want to pull up document 1, it's.
Okay, we're not pulling up documents now. We're
Okay.
closing
I'm
arguments.
So Mr. Hu has been very aware that Eliza's been having issues staying at his house and being scared to stay at his house. And we were trying to work together at points, and then it stopped happening. It makes me very concerned that he brought a gun into the house with a 2-year-old without telling me, and he had it in here for a month without my knowledge. So
I didn't hear any actual evidence of that. Please don't argue anything that's not in evidence. There was no evidence that he had it for a month.
Even though he just said he had it.
Sir, did you say you had it in your possession for a full month without the
No, I
clip?
did not.
I didn't hear a month anywhere in there.
No problem. I apologize. It makes
And
me.
that she was aware, and I also say that she
Okay,
was.
sir, you answered my question.
He was also previously diagnosed by a psychiatrist with having.
Ma'am, there's no evidence of that. There's absolutely zero evidence before this court about any diagnosis of the respondent. You cannot argue something that is not in evidence.
Okay. I don't really know what to tell you, sir, other than I have tried to reach out to him to co-parent to talk about this. I tried to reach out to Ms. Boyd as we spoke last week, and I asked her if we could try to work something out with supervised visitation until we go to family court, and she just hung up on me and left the room. I have been trying to work this out before it got to this point, and I've been laughed at like I'm lying and not trying to do what's best for my daughter. And I'm here trying to protect my daughter from, I believe, a mentally unwell man. And I pray and hope for the future that things change, and I want them. I think everybody believes a father and daughter should have a healthy relationship, and I truly want that. But I don't think that's what's happening right now. And my daughter that's been here for now 60 days without seeing her father has not asked to talk to him, has not asked to go to his house, and is starting to sleep better, and is, just like little improvements in her mental and emotional that I see. So not just words, her everything. So I would love for them to have supervised visits and, you know, go to Legoland for a couple hours. And then she
They can't
comes
take a
home.
supervisor with them.
Okay. Well, I thought that we could agree on a supervisor.
Oh.
And, you know, they could do things together where it's not too stressful for him or her, and starting a positive relationship back. Because right now I told her that Daddy and I were going to talk to see, you know, what we could do. And she runs away scared. So I don't even know that she's going to want to do this, but I want them to have a positive relationship. And however I can be supportive of that with keeping her safe is my top priority.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Boyd, any closing?
Judge, this is sad, actually, that people tend to use this system as leverage or to try to get ahead or to try to get some sort of advantage. I think it's perfectly clear here that Ms. Moorcraft filed this in retaliation. And I think it's perfectly clear that she's trying to get the upper hand as it relates to custody. She said herself, I want supervised until we get the family situated. Well, why didn't we just get the family court motion heard? Why did we go this route? Why did you keep him from the daughter? You gave the school a copy of this TPO and alleged that he's been abusing your daughter. And it's strange because all of this evidence relies on nothing but what Ms. Moorcraft heard and saw. She told me, I saw her, she told me this, that. Everything is what Ms. Moorcraft said that was said. Everything is what Ms. Moorcraft says was done. We've requested a guardian ad litem. That's what they're there for. So somebody can get in there and take a look around and speak with Eliza when Ms. Moorcraft is not hovering over her to see if she sees anything or he sees anything wrong. But right now, all we have is what Ms. Moorcraft says happens right after my client files a consent. Now, it's why, because here's the thing, Judge. The child was in school the whole day. After that weekend, he dropped the baby off at school. Ms. Moorcraft testified that nobody reached out to her. So she had a whole full day at school. Nobody said a word. And then all of a sudden, when Ms. Moorcraft picked her up, she's having night terrors for 2 weeks. She's completely distraught, screaming, crying, and kicking. All of a sudden, after a full day with nothing. In her emergency motion that we entered into evidence here, she claimed she had issues with her back. She had an injury to her back. On this TPO, she says it's her neck. The counselor said that the child said he hits her bottom.
I apologize for interrupting your argument, but the petition says the back and the neck, I believe, doesn't it?
Petition says neck.
Okay,
The TPO says mother says she observed a scratch on her neck.
okay,
Her emergency motion says back.
okay.
But the counselor said bottom. I don't know how you get a scratch on the front of your neck from being hit on your bottom. This child was around, and give it, they weren't around for long periods of times, but they were around at different periods of times. And over the course of this entire weekend, nobody else saw a thing. You have 4 people here, 5 including my client, saying they didn't see anything wrong. And then you have Ms. Moorcraft here. So she specifically admitted that she didn't get the response that she wanted from Mr. Who. This didn't have to go this far. I filed it because he didn't, because of this response.
You
How
filed
entitled
what?
is
I'm
that?
sorry, you filed what?
She said she filed the
Okay.
TPO because of the response that she got
Okay.
in the text.
I thought you weren't coming in clearly enough. I thought you said you filed something in response. That's what I was,
No, Judge.
okay, I
No,
misheard you
Ms.
then.
Moorcraft specifically said that she filed this TPO because she was trying to communicate with Mr. Who, and she didn't get the answer that she wanted, or she didn't approve of the answer. She specifically said she did it because she didn't hear the response she wanted to hear. How entitled is that? It's people that are out there being abused, and you're sitting here with us when you need to be hearing their case and protecting them. This is a 3-year-old child. You want me to believe that my client said, I want more time with my kids, so I'm going to file a modification asking for more time with my child on the 15th, and then the next day I'm going to beat on him. That doesn't even make sense. Father's Day weekend. Yes, let me abuse my child on Father's Day weekend right after I ask the court for more time with him.
Anything else?
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay. All right. When you're dealing with a small child, it's next to impossible to get to the bottom of what happened. I don't dispute, the pictures. There's pictures of scratches. There's pictures of a mark. But that alone being unexplained rightly or wrongly. You know, you would hope that both parents would get together and try to figure out what happened. But we're talking about minor scratches here. Soccer, playing on the floor with the cousins. I don't know. You don't know. Mr. Who doesn't know. None of us know how those scratches got there. And there's been no evidence that I can base a temporary protective order upon whatsoever. There were incidents perhaps a year or two ago where you yourself, not necessarily the child, where you yourself probably could have gotten a protective order for the incidents if they had panned out and proven to be true in court or credible in court. But those had no bearing whatsoever on the issue in front of me. It's one incident, unexplained. I wish it could have been handled differently by the two of you with a couple of more rounds of communication before it got to this point. As I said, y'all are tied together forever. And y'all can litigate and spend all the money you want on all this litigation and pulling and tugging on that beautiful little 3-year-old child. You can do it till she's 18. And what will it accomplish? Nothing for either one of you. What might happen, though, is what's going to happen to her if y'all don't figure out how to co-parent like adults. I don't know if it's a substance abuse problem, Mr. Who. I didn't even know that CBD stores could sell something that would do what happened to you. That's kind of frightening to hear myself. I've spent 40 years doing this, working in our criminal courts, and I know what I know about CBD you could put in a thimble, and that's not much. But I would hope that that would be 2 lessons learned. You know, why even try for a third seizure? But you know, I don't know. I don't know if it could have killed you. I don't know if you could have had a stroke. I don't know what could have happened from it. But it sounds pretty risky to me. But that was when y'all were together. So there's nobody to monitor either one of you while you're apart from each other. You can't know what's going on in each other's household 24/7. It's absolutely impossible to know. I do not find that the filing of the TPO, in my opinion, was filed as a retaliatory move by the petitioner. It was filed based upon those scratches, and that alone may have been premature without knowing or having some reasonable belief as to how it occurred. You've highlighted that there was an incident at school where she said, I got hit by the teacher, when it later turned out, no, it was an accidental thing. But in your own words, ma'am, you said that's the way she described it, even though it's being accepted as an accident, not as an intentional act by that teacher. Well, I've got a couple granddaughters that play soccer, and in the earlier year, I didn't know they even did it for 3-year-olds, but it's pack ball. There's the ball, and here's all the players just gathered around it, bumping into each other. I have no idea. It could have been the life vest in the pool that would wrap around her back and her neck. I can't say what caused it. Nobody can. And I can't grant a protective order unless I have a reasonable certainty that what caused it. And if there's no evidence been presented that can attribute those injuries to Mr. Who. It happened while it was in his care. The two of you need to, as parents, you know, you need to protect your children from negligence and accidents. And if something happens and you know about it, and Mr. Who, if you happen to have noticed, you know, a scratch on her or a mark, I would think the first thing you need to be doing is getting on that app, and vice versa. Because if y'all want to keep doing this, I'm sure if she ever falls and gets a scratch on her knee, Ms. Moorcraft, he might be doing the same thing that occurred here, accusing you of injuring this child. At one point, the two of you actually must have trusted each other. You were in a relationship and you got a child, and you're going to have to figure out how to reestablish that trust between the two of you and figure it out. I've said this many times, and having practiced divorce and domestic law in my practice, the best visitation or parenting time agreement is only 1 sentence long. That the non-custodial parent can visit with the minor child at such times and places as the parties mutually agree. Think about that. It means, hey, I got the day off. Can I see Eliza? Or I'm going out of town on a trip. We're going to be near Disney World. I know it's not my weekend. Can we trade off? Things like that. But do you know why the parenting agreements end up being 3, 4, 5, 10 pages long? Because the parties won't ever agree. Now, which do you think is better for the child? That one sentence means that you have a healthy child who loves both their parents, who goes back and forth freely between the parents with the blessing of the other parent. And then you raise a healthy, happy child. If you're going to exercise all those 5 or 10 pages in an agreement, something's wrong. But that's why the lawyers, that's why we put them in there. That's why the courts put them in there. That's why the courts have pre-printed parenting agreements, because they know that the two adults are emotional with each other. And sometimes it doesn't work. And so you got to have some ground rules there. And that's why y'all have those. I urge you to follow them, both of you. Again, I don't find the filing of this petition to be a problem, other than the fact that it got us to this point. It just became an unprovable situation in court. Ma'am, do you have an attorney representing you in Gwinnett County?
I have one, sir. Part of my problem is I'm currently unemployed.
Okay, well, you need to try and figure out how to get one. And if you do get one, maybe your attorney and Ms. Boyd can work out something to resolve this. Y'all can go all day, and keep filing all this stuff, accusing the other one of not following the agreement, not following this or that. You started out, when I heard consent, that's progress. That's better than many do. But you need to get back in that mode of consenting and working something out between the two of you. Has no bearing on what I'm doing here. I'm just telling you, as a parent, a grandfather, and somebody who practiced domestic law for 40 years, both practice and on the bench, y'all got to figure it out, or you're going to have a whole lot more trouble with this sweet little child. A lot. Get back into counseling, do something, figure it out. All right. I guess I've preached way more than I should have, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to look out for the best interest of this child. That's my responsibility too, in the litigation we're in. But I'm telling you, that's exactly what the judge in Gwinnett's going to do. And that's what the guardian ad litem is going to do. And none of that's going to be cheap. So y'all figure it out, I hope. And realize that even down the road after the child's 18, you're going to be able to be in the same room. If she gets married, you're going to be able to be there for graduation, high school, college, whatever. Can you sit on the same row and let her see you both smiling and proud of her? Think about way down the road and think about how you're going to get there. All right. Good luck to both of you. And
Really quickly, I'm sorry.
Okay, go
Really
ahead.
quickly, this is a bit of a stretch. Two things though. One, we had a counterclaim for attorney's fees, so I had to just mention it. And the second thing is whether or not you would be willing to include your findings in whatever order you issue today.
I'm going to enter my standard dismissal for insufficient evidence, and that's it.
Okay.
I
And then the counterclaim for attorney's fees.
denied. Y'all deal with that in the other case. I'm not going to compound this problem. Y'all can deal with it in Gwinnett as far as anything out there, which is going to be far more expensive than what we've had here today. As I said, I understand why it was filed, and I do not believe it was necessarily filed in retaliation, as you have alleged and argued very well. But I just do not believe it was filed on that basis. It was filed on the basis of seeing some unexplained scratches and what was perceived to be an insufficient response.